Alright, hi everyone, Serenity here, and I'm going to quickly do a brief recap over this, just to point some things out that I noticed on this trailer. So let's watch this together and then I'll give some thoughts.
This is our most sacred place. Outsiders are forbidden. I want answers. No one was supposed to come back here until everything was safe.
Very reminiscent of Oryx right there.
I want to kill whatever evil has crept into the Dreaming City.
So taken, this looks probably like Savathun. But it also looked half human, which kind of looked a bit like either the Queen or Eris or something, might have turned into something like that. Nice jumping puzzles like the Taken King. The Blind Well. That looks awesome, and the massive Taken boss. Now if you notice here,
Creature at the heart of this place.
they jump into here as a 6-man team, and it looks like they jump
The fate of the Dreaming City is at stake.
here into the room where that one wizard was, meaning it looks like there is definitely going to be a hive boss, so Savathun most likely, at the center of the Dreaming City. Now, what I find very interesting here, and what I think I'm hoping I'm not misinterpreting, is it seemed to be, as they said in the original, there is going to be things that change depending on what the community do. And it looked almost like that there is sort of a day-night cycle, I guess. It's not a day-night cycle, but a light and darkness cycle. And Aldrin has even said, the line between light and darkness is so thin, do you know which side you're on? And that speaks a lot, because that person kind of looked a bit like either Eris or the Queen could have taken the power of Oryx, because they were the one that took his sword, or the piece from his sword. How do we know they haven't taken that power and they've transformed into some form of human or awoken / hybrid with the hive? Because there was Taken and hive there. It would make sense that someone like Eris would know how to use that magic because she used it to survive. Now, the Queen, once again, she also has powers of her own, as she is an Awoken. Awoken do have powers. They have powers in a way similar to the Taken. If you noticed, they summoned giant orbs that they threw at the Taken, which are very similar to the orbs that were thrown by the Centurions, etc., and War Priest. And even though War Priest wasn't a Taken necessarily, he is part of the Taken army, so I guess they have power crossovers. But yeah, it's very interesting. It looks like the raid has a day-night cycle of some kind, or I guess a light and dark side. So at some point something will happen that will make it a darkness raid, and maybe it'll be mostly Taken, but then there'll be a normal version of it, I guess, or vanilla version that's the beginning, where it's just hive, or maybe more hive, less Taken, and they could interchange bosses. That is something, if I'm speculating correctly, could absolutely change Destiny forever. Destiny would never be the same. This is something that the game has needed for a long time. Very, very, very in-depth raiding, where every time you go in, you can experience something different. And I don't mean as in the way 4,000 times in, you're experiencing something different. No. What I mean is, like the Taken King, 6 months after fighting Gogoroth, they introduced challenges. And people were like, you know what? Actually, we used to do this thing that wasn't actually very efficient. It was just an old way of fighting Gogoroth. But it's actually really good for a challenge. So now we're changing up how everyone does Gogoroth because the challenges have been introduced. If they can get that feeling off the bat, get that, like, we're going to have to change up our playstyle to fit whatever event is happening today. So is it Taken boss this room, Taken boss that room, Hive boss for the end, etc, etc. You're going to have to configure the way your team fight and play depending on the order of rooms and the order that the raid goes in, depending on if it's light or dark. I think that is something that's really, really fucking amazing. And to be honest, Bungie have come out and said so many good things about how many things the community have basically said we want back. And the very fact is, yes, they fucked up. And there's so much to talk about with this whole Korean version of Destiny 2. It's predatory and disgusting. And it really does key home what they were trying to do with Destiny in the West, and we just don't stand for that shit, so they tried to move to a market where that kind of shit can fly. But at the same time, I do give credit where credit is due, and they were listening very clearly, as they said they were. But rather than just listening, they have done. And I commend them for that. And I think there's a lot of respect here for some of the team that have gone above and beyond to make it look like this is a really big step forward. But as I've said in plenty of other videos, this is the last straw. If this one fails, like the Taken King, the Forsaken was the Taken King of this game. If we have to, in Destiny 3, wait for a Taken King / Forsaken level update to get a good game, Destiny as a franchise will die. And I don't want that. I think Destiny is honestly one of the best franchises I've ever played. I honestly play it more than anything else anymore. And it's a perfect blend of lore, amazing gameplay, and fun with friends, and fun solo. Fun solo. Han Solo's weird fucking brother. But it's just fun in general. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. As always, this is a conversation, so please leave your thoughts in the comments on what you think this raid might be. And if you noticed anything in the trailer, because I did notice a few things with some of the weapons I found very interesting. But if you noticed anything, please tell me. Peace out, guys, and as always, have a good one.